Hi, my name's Julie Anderson. Thank you for being here. I'm going to be interviewing Deepak Saini tonight. He is so awesome. So I'm going to give a proper introduction while maybe I'll do it right now. But I met Deepak in Calgary. I drove up to learn, like to practice public speaking. I met him in this really cool, circuitous, roundabout way. And I connected with him, and he is so cool. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction. Hey, Delroy, thank you for hopping on. Michelle, how are you? So this is going to be about blue light. What is the big deal about blue light? Like, what is it? Is it really a big deal? And why it might be like why you might be having trouble losing weight or even sleeping because of this blue light. So I'm hoping that we're gonna be able to get him on. Sometimes we have challenges. Last time we did this, we actually had to default to a Zoom call, which I then uploaded. But we did a practice group, we did a practice run, and it worked out okay. So I'm just waiting for him right now. So I'll go ahead and introduce him. Deepak Saini is a health, performance, and longevity coach. Having spent many stressed years in the corporate world and overcoming an autoimmune condition and a back injury, he brings a unique perspective to working with his clients. Hey, Delroy. Hey, Evelyn. Thank you for hopping on. When this father of two is not spending time with his wife and little girls, he's researching and staying at the forefront of emerging and cutting-edge health research. Deepak is also a speaker and published writer. So just waiting for Deepak to hop on. So yeah, I met Deepak, and he gave his presentation when I was at this practice group, and his story was so compelling. He lost a lot of weight, and he's found that just by doing his own research and learning what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. Deepak, awesome. Thank you, Deepak. You're here. I see you. Bring Deepak on camera. Oh, we're doing it, Deepak. And I was like super patient too. That's so awesome. Okay, whoops. Oh my goodness. I got so excited I pulled that down. There he is.
How's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Any echo?
Yes. No, no echo. So let's rock and roll here.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Deepak. I gave the introduction, so thank you for being here.
I was watching. I was like, add me, add me. So
Yeah, right. I'm glad that you said something, so that's awesome. Okay, so let's just get right in. This is your show. Please tell us about blue light.
okay. Well, first of all, I think as many people know, or hopefully know, maybe not. Maybe we'll learn something today. Blue light has a lot of effects on, or light in general, just light in general. Let's just talk about light first, but then we'll talk about blue light. Light in general, wherever its source, has effects on, the way we sleep, um, you know, uh, disease prevention, how we absorb our, nutrients, you know, weight loss, all the things. So there's all really interconnected. Everything with health, everything with the body is really interconnected. So we may or may not go down some rabbit holes. Any one of those things I just mentioned could be their own topic for a discussion for sure. So we'll just see where it takes us. So some people, maybe your audience maybe saw our last interview together, maybe not. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about my backstory. People could look me up on my website, or maybe they'll have questions later. So I was very briefly, just so how I got to sort of thinking about light. So, father of two, corporate job, stressed all the time, overweight, had always been overweight, et cetera, that sort of thing. Went through some health challenges, autoimmune. I hurt my back really bad, and trying to heal my back. What worked for me: low inflammatory diet, dropped the weight like that. It was like amazing. Really got me thinking about it, which kind of led me to my current career path. So that was about 4.5, 5 years ago when I really got into just digging down into the science, really geeking out on the science, nerdy stuff. That's when light sort of first came into sort of like people were starting to talk about it, people that I follow sort of on the fringe, the cutting edge, the biohackers, etc., which I consider myself to be one. Sort of came on my radar screen. You keep hearing it, like, okay, yeah, that sort of makes sense. And some things you can intuitively know that you hear here and there. But I think it was probably about, I want to say about 2.5 years ago, maybe, when finally I'm like, it's either time to, put words to action or forget about it, type of thing. So I was due for new glasses anyway, and so I went to my optometrist. Regular scheduled appointment, regular checkup. The whole family, and my optometrist is probably even a bit younger than me. So, not right out of school, but, has some experience, but not so ingrained that, what they learned, 40 years ago or, that type of thing. So it seemed pretty forward thinking. So I said, hey, look, give it to me straight. This is what I'm reading, and specifically about macular degeneration. So, your eyes, just losing function in your eyes as we age, which typically happens to a lot of people as they get into their usually 80s, 90s, that sort of thing. But some of the research I was seeing, or the people that I'm following, also were telling me, that let's see, do it for your side, that macular degeneration, like the rates are just going up and up, and that if we go up 25 years out, we're just going to see this like hockey stick increase in macular degeneration. So I said, look, this is what I'm hearing. Is this a bunch of BS or what? What are you seeing? What do you guys see? This is your business. You're an eye doc. You're an optometrist. And she said, no, it's totally true. We're starting to see these early studies, about this right now. And I said, well, I'm thinking about getting blue light blocking glasses, which have been out for a long time, right? My mom used to have blue blockers back in like when I was a kid in the 80s, and mostly for the sun, and everyone knows Bono from U2 and wearing his orange or yellow glasses or here and there and that sort of thing, and it's kind of the geeky or the eccentric people type of thing. So I was like, I want to get these, but the problem has been prescription, right? I have glasses. I've had glasses for a long time. I need prescription. Most companies, it's changed now, and maybe we can talk about it later. But 2.5, 3 years ago, nobody was doing prescription blue light blocking glasses. So I said, like, this is what I'm thinking. Like, do you know anyone? Have you heard any companies? Like, I haven't seen any. There's this company, but nobody's doing prescription. She's like, oh, we could do that for you here. I'm like, what? Really? And she's like, yeah, they're not orange tinted and all that, but we do blue light blocking glasses here. I was like, really? She's like, oh, let me go get some samples. So she comes with just like lenses. It's like, well, these ones are just sort of coated on the outside, and they're not as effective. And then there's these ones where it's like really ingrained into the glass. It's like part of the lens making process. So she turns off the light, gets a blue light, like a little pen blue light, and shines it through. So okay, here's what it looks like without, in the plain dark. Okay, yeah, I see it's concentrated blue light. She sticks the one that's just coated. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's sort of reduced. I see it. She sticks the other one that's ingrained into the material, and it's like nearly cuts it like, like 90%. I was like, yeah, those are the ones I want. Order me those, please. So she's like, okay, and then she's like, here, let me show you like a real pair. So she goes out again and comes back. She's like, oh, this is I can't remember her name, like Debbie from reception out front. These are her actual pair. I just took it off her head and look, see that. I was like, oh, okay. So got talking to her a bit more, and she wears contacts during the day. But she's like, oh, as soon as I get home, I throw my blue light blocking glasses on. My husband's in front of a computer all day. He wears them. Excuse me. Start talking, pursuing everyone. So there's an optometrist office, and then of course they have like the sales center out front where they sell glasses and all the fashionable brands and this, that, and the other thing. She's like, essentially everyone in that office, whether they're on the optometry side, the actual medical side, or on the sales side, everyone at some point in the day is wearing blue light blocking glasses who's in the industry. So I'm like, why aren't more people know about this? Why aren't you pushing this more? I've been coming here for 4 years. Like, you're not trying to sell me blue light blocking. She's like, well, it's not really widely. I'm like, no. It's coming. It's coming down the road. So right away, order 2 pairs. I have now, I think 4 pairs, and fabulous job. Good fit, everything. Like, so I wear them all the time, and we'll get into that later. Sorry about that. My cord's not that long apparently.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my optometrist story. So right away, so we're there with the whole family, and my wife wears contacts primarily, but obviously needs corrective lenses. So I'm like, yeah, I'm ordering them. The doctor, I won't say her name. The doctor like confirmed. She's like, okay. So my wife usually gets her contacts, orders like a year's supply, and then also gets a new pair of glasses usually the same time. So she's like, okay, well, get me blue light blocking glasses too. So my wife wears them as well. And then for the kids, they don't need corrective lenses yet. But just off of Amazon, just they're not as effective. But even if we're cutting like 50%, so at home we're not trying to make them be all geeky at school or anything like that. But theoretically, they could wear them almost all the time. But at least at home, when they're in front of screens, they have to wear their little pink blue light block. I have two girls, so two pink blue light blocking glasses at home when they're in front of at least in front of screens at home. So that's kind of what we do in our household. So that's kind of how I got in. So it was kind of the confirmation of what I'd already been hearing. This is not a fringe thing. This is what people, the optometrists, are actually doing themselves. So that's kind of how I started, and I've been wearing them ever since. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we'll just dig in. I don't know if there's anything you want to ask or
Cool.
take from there first.
Yeah, no, so yeah, it's funny that you said that. Like, I saw blue light glasses. Somebody was saying like, and you know what really got me? This is the funniest thing is that they did like a demonstration. I saw an ad on Instagram, and they were just shining a light, and it showed it was like almost like burning paper. It looked like a black mark, but they were showing that it was causing wrinkles, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
motivated me to buy blue light glasses. Like, not, I didn't even know about the macular degeneration, which is quite serious. It was like the wrinkles that caused me to act. So I just thought that would be funny to add in there. But please,
Yeah, for sure,
please
for sure.
continue, Deepak.
Excuse me. Yeah, so I mean, if you think about, let's take an evolutionary tone for a second here. You know, artificial light. We're putting at the mall and in our office buildings, etc. Which is primarily blue light spectrum. In the history of mankind, it's like relatively new. Like I don't know the exact date. I probably should have prepared more, but I know late 1800s when we first had the light bulb, right? Like in you know in the and everyone's gonna have their own theory of how long man has been on Earth and etc. So we won't go into that debate. But we know it's at least 10,000 years minimum, if not longer, and I believe much longer. But at least 10 out of let's just use 10,000. So in the last I don't know maybe 200 years we've had light over a 10,000 period. It's really new to mankind. Man is meant to rise and set or sleep the sun cycle, right? Circadian rhythm, right? You sleep more in the winter when well, it depends on where you live in the world, obviously, but sleep more in the winter when you have less light, and then in the summer you don't need as much light, and the sun actually energizes you, and we'll talk about that a bit. So, what did artificial light? What was the whole point of it? Really, is so that we could work longer, we could extend our workday, whether it was an agricultural revolution, and okay, it gets dark, you have to come in, but then maybe you had some chores inside the house, so you could still do those instead of coming in early. So that's something. Or in the factory, the industrial revolution, so we could work a bit longer. So light in the evening. So naturally, again, like we're going rabbit hole here, but naturally, when you wake up, your cortisol levels spike, which helps wake you up. Number one, gives you that boost of energy, and of course, we have other mechanisms to sort of stimulate that or boost us all throughout the day. Caffeine and other stimulants, etc. But then it tapers off at the end of the day, which is you want to so you can go to a good night's sleep. So what did this artificial light give us that little extra hit of cortisol, a little jolt to go for a little bit longer. Really, studies have shown that you get a good, and everyone's going to be different, of course, is all individual specific, but you get another, maybe another hour, maybe two of again a little bit more performance, a little bit more focus, but then it really just crashes after that, and you're kind of worse off than if you would have just went to sleep, let's say. So with that context, and again, sort of climate specific, we live in a northern climate, and people live, even more north than us. But so you're gonna you get that little bit of hit of light, get a little extra cortisol, get a little extra more production of focus for maybe another hour, maybe another two, once the sun goes down. But come wintertime, it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's like dark. Okay, so you push it a little bit more, so okay, 7, 8. But are we going to sleep at 8 o'clock? I'm not. I got kids, I got things to do. I'm running a couple of businesses. It's like maybe 9 o'clock if I'm lucky. It's more like 10 or 10:30. Sometimes that's not my goal, but it is. So I'm really, really pushing. So again, what am I doing to mitigate it? So really, that's the whole point of the whole point of light in the first place was to extend the work day. So a couple things. I know this is jump around here a little bit, but. I guess I don't know if I want to call this tips or whatever, but let's start from the beginning of the day. Ideally, you want to wake when your body naturally rises you, when you're fully rested. Now, let's be honest, we live in a modern world, things going on, jobs and school, whatever have you. It's kind of regimented by other people. That's not necessarily ideal for our health, but for most of us, we have to get up at an alarm clock, which might not be the perfect time for sleep. And again, that's the whole another topic altogether. So so we get up. So ideally, you want to get up, a little bit before, naturally, or whenever before the sun comes up, and then when the sun rises, we all, nice sunrise, so that oranges and reds and that sort of thing. So the morning sunrise has a full spectrum of light, including blue, although it doesn't look like that because it is more. Um, red, good, a perfect mixture of what the body needs, what evolution has told us we need to sort of get our day going and get energized. So there's actually a lot of blue light, even though it doesn't look blue. There's a lot of blue light. So ideally in the morning, you actually want to get sunshine right into your eyes. You can even in the early part of the day, the first, 15 to 20, again, depending where you are versus the equator, north or south, up 15 to 20 minutes, you can look directly at the sun. You're gonna have no effect to like eye health or anything like that. Actually, it's a benefit to eye health. You're gonna get all this energy, all this, vitamin D synthesis, on your skin as well. And that's a whole another variation on that is, just get natural light on your skin for vitamin D production. Maybe we'll get there later. But you want to get natural light, and for a lot of people, myself included, depending what my day's like, if I'm seeing clients or I'm stuck inside, especially when we get into the winter months, I get up and I go somewhere and it's dark the whole time I get there, and then I'm inside, and then finally the sun comes up at some point, but I'm inside, I'm stuck under artificial light. So I guess the best thing is try and get that morning sun, before noon, or so I would say at lunchtime. If you can, again, depends what your job is or what have you, obviously. But if you can get outside at lunch, go for a walk, get some, at least some, sun, 11:30, that time, get some natural sunlight, not only on your skin if you can, but without blocking, like right into your eyes. So for me, because of what I do, a lot of it's online based and computer based, and a lot of our economy, a lot of people are that way. Even though I get up early, if I get up early and it's before the sunrise, because I'm in front of a screen, I still wear my blue light blocking glasses, and then I'll try and take them off and switch them out. Sometimes I don't always remember to do that. So, be quite honest, I end up wearing 24/7. Obviously not when I'm sleeping, but my blue light blocking glasses, even at times when I shouldn't. But it's like, oh, I didn't bring my regular glasses, or like, okay, I'll get some of that, right? Just good for eye health. So again, we're talking about light here and blue light, but really, what's the primordial source of light is the sun, right? That's how evolution happened. So natural skin light, it's again vitamin D, sun exposure good. That's a whole other thing. Maybe we'll come back to that. And the sun has full spectrum of light, which I already mentioned. I have a few notes here, so I just want to make sure I cover everything here. So natural sunlight right into your eyes regulates your hypothalamus, part of your brain, which controls your automatic nervous system, energy balance, fluid balance, heat regulation, sleep, your circulation, reproduction, emotional balance. So people have heard of seasonal affective disorder, right? SAD, right? It's you're not getting enough light, you're not getting enough sunlight, and artificial lights can't really replace natural sunlight. So that's why in northern climates, and they find too that people who only get or don't get natural sunlight and only get artificial light from the lamps in their house or in their home or where they work, etc. So a whole host of chronic diseases that can come from that. The other thing you get from besides all the the reds, the yellows, the blues, green spectrum, you also get all the infrared spectrums as well, near, mid, and far infrared wavelengths as well, which are a benefit. And that's why so many people now, and myself included, a huge believer of infrared saunas. It's a way to sort of mimic it, sort of hack, if you will, getting more of those spectrums when you can't get outside enough of the time. I talk too much with my hands. Sorry.
That's okay.
Fix that there. Keep knocking my
right.
earphones there. But yeah, like the sun, natural sun. People. I think I find anyone who would disagree with this it'd be hard to find anyone that would disagree with this, that when you're out in the sunshine, whether it's in the summer where you live, or it's the winter where you go on a vacation somewhere, and of course there's the mental and relaxation and the stress reduction aspect of a vacation, but you just feel charged up. Like the sunshine, you feel good, and I have so much energy now, and those, like, yeah, there's all those things, but it's like the sun. It's actually, we're electrical beings that are meant to get natural sunlight, right? It charges us up like a battery, like it charges us up. Like earlier I was charging my iPhone, right? It's like just
Right.
charges you up, and you just feel good being in the sunshine, right? There's a reason for that. It's part of evolution. Um, yeah, yeah, a few things here. I'll come back to this one, I guess. Yeah, no, I'll say it now. So we want to protect our eyes from, and hopefully some people will maybe have some questions that I'll post and we'll go there. But you want to protect our eyes from artificial and junk light, right? So, I'll be quite honest, and I'll talk about things I do to mitigate or what I haven't yet implemented. But I have artificial lights above my head right now. That's lighting me up here. When I'm at clients, at the mall, any store, right? They're just flooded, right? You want to make everything as bright as possible. These super, super bright LEDs. Everything's LEDs now, or computer screens, or TV. Everything, our devices, obviously super, super bright. Just so we can see. So yeah. So again, I wear blue light blocking glasses to protect my irises. So the most important is actually to protect your irises, which is like straight on. So of course, you see the people have the full wrap around, like kind of Oakley style that are orange, the Bono types, or a lot of those that you see online. Those are good and they have a place, and I'll get to that in a second. But really, to protect your irises from just macular degeneration or some of those other conditions, your irises are right in the middle. So as long as you sort of the straight on blue light,
Hmm.
you're blocking that is good. So obviously, I'm gonna get some leakage from the sides, from underneath, potentially from over top. All right, I have these lights overhead, but that's not hitting my irises. That blue light is not hitting my irises, so I'm not worried about that part. Now, will having that blue light affect sleep and other things? Sure. So it's I'm not covering that aspect, and so I'm actually going to. So again, with a lot of those companies that do sort of the red or the orange tint, full sort of wraparound. Just recently, they're starting to do prescription as well. So I was looking into doing that, and then a very good friend of mine, another sort of biohacker, and I'll do a little plug for his organization kind of at the end. But one of their little offshoots of their business is they're getting into that business. So I was like, okay, how long till you're up and running and I can order? And he's like, yeah, like 4, 5, 6 months or so. So I'm like, okay, I can hold off. I'd rather buy from a friend, type of thing. But yeah, I'm looking to get those specifically for nighttime. So once the sun goes down, these ones will come off. Those ones will go on, and it's just me. I don't care if I'm out and about. I don't care if people think, it's becoming more and more accepted. I see people on the train and stuff wearing them now. Not really in the office setting when I'm at clients' offices and that sort of thing. We're walking sort of in the downtown, that sort of thing. But it's become more accepted, so I don't care. But once I get those, as soon as the sun goes down, those are coming on, because not for worrying about damaging my irises, but it's for the sleep component to like block out all the blue light for better sleep, which again is another sort of cofactor when we're talking about light here. Yeah, so when the sun goes down, again, what's the sunsets? Nice reds, oranges, much similar to when the sun is rising, but all the blue and sort of green spectrums are actually all out of it. So that signals your body, right? Evolutionary again, it says, hey, it's time to get ready for bed. Cortisol, well, you should have already depleted your cortisol already by that time of the day, but sends a signal to your body, get ready for bed. Melatonin production actually starts then, so which helps for your sleep. So if you're always having these bright lights, your body's never like, oh, I don't need to produce melatonin. So then you're going to have maybe problems sleeping, falling asleep, sleep latency, how long it takes you to fall asleep, etc. like that. One thing that's kind of a cool stat I came with. I kind of heard this before, but I wanted to write it down because I wanted people to really kind of grasp this. So the brightness or color temperature is measured in what's called kelvins. Some people might have heard of that. So the sun is 5,500 Kelvin. That's just how they measured it, and that's sort of like baseline. We're going to base everything brightness off of the sun. So 5,500. So most LEDs are 6,500, so brighter than the sun. So
How is
that's
that
about
possible?
that's about 20% thereabouts. Rough math. 20% brighter than the sun. Most LEDs. So that'd be your computer, your screen, etc. like that. If you think about it, so if you're going to buy something, so I mean, a lot of new ones we'll talk about a little bit later. Screens, TVs, etc. You can adjust you can do adjustments on your devices, etc. to bring that down. And we'll talk about that in a second. But if you're going to buy LEDs for your home, or actually you can study. They're becoming harder and harder to find. But the incandescent bulbs that are supposedly so bad for us are actually good for us. So those are actually you can find some LEDs that have a lower level, or incandescents which are 3,000 Kelvin. So not quite half of what the sun is. So if you're trying to go to bed, doesn't it make sense to cut the brightness of the light you're receiving down, not increase it, right? So that's just a really interesting stat that I had come across. So maybe that's a couple benefits of just reducing blue light overall. So I sort of alluded to some of these already. Better sleep quality, better sleep latency, or how fast you fall asleep. Obviously, macular degeneration. That's what we talked about before. Yeah, people might not know this might be the first time they're seeing me here. So I have a goal to live to be a centenarian plus. And I'm taking a lot of actions for that. Health-wise and other, that's a whole another story, and people can look me up and sort of hear more about that, or maybe be another interview another time. But that being said, if I do everything for my mind, body, to live, a meaningful, enriched life at that age, but I want to have my eyesight at that time. I don't want to lose my eyesight. I might be mentally sharp, be physically, sharp, active, but I don't want to be blind. For the last 10 years, I want to have everything going for me. So that's really important to me. And like I said, alluded to earlier, that's sort of what got me down this track to actually buying blue light blocking glasses was sort of the studies I'd seen about that. When you're in the darkness, and when you're in darkness and slash sleep, you stimulate the AMP K pathway. So it's a little bit technical, so I'm going to read it off here. I did a Mr. Google and found that. So AMP K, the technical term is 5-adenosine monophosphate, which basically is an activated protein kinase, which is an enzyme that optimizes your energy efficiency and stimulates the recycling of your cells. So this is not a surprise to anyone. When you sleep, you recover, your body gets rid of waste, etc. You want that as long as possible, right? So when you're sleeping, you want sleep quality, and that's a kind of another topic, how to increase sleep quality. But if you're being bombarded with light, even when you're sleeping, if you have light, and we'll talk about that in a second, that's actually affecting you, that your body's actually not in full repair mode. So if you're not repairing and getting rid of those waste products, what is that leading to long term? Probably diseases of various sorts, or health issues, or et cetera, right? Proper sleep and light exposure can help you lose weight. That's a whole nother topic, and maybe we'll circle back to that.
Yes. Please touch on that, because I know that's a hot button issue.
Sure. Remind me. We'll come back to that.
Okay,
so I'll give this definition. Some people might have heard about this. Photobiomodulation. So basically, that's using all wavelengths of light, i.e., the morning sun. So your ultraviolet, your red, near infrared, mid, far infrared, green, yellow, et cetera, to help combat the effects of artificial light, as well as providing other health benefits like reducing inflammation, balancing your blood sugar, that goes back to weight, lowering fat deposits, enhancing kidney function, thyroid function, blood flow to the brain, and building new stem cells. So let's go back for a second here. Back to what I said. And this is not for everyone. This is just me. I want to live a really long time. I want to live to over 100. I want to be healthy all the way to the end. So reducing inflammation. I already know about that. That's what helped me lose all the weight, primarily from nutrition, but balancing blood sugar, super important for longevity. Lowering fat deposits. I think many people would be happy with that. Thyroid function, super important with many of the other things we got going on in the environment, which we're not even going to talk about today. Blood flow to the brain, super important. I don't want to have dementia. You and me have talked before, so we know this. But for the audience, I have Alzheimer's in my family. I have the Alzheimer's gene. I'm doing everything I can that I know how to do within my power to offset that. So blood flow to the brain, super important for that. New stem cells, that's good for regeneration, injuries, etc. So there's devices, and there's some of them are pricey. I'm not going to lie. Where you put on this dorky looking cap, and it gives you specific light that penetrates through your skull right into your brain. That's photobiomodulation. Very concentrated, and you don't even want to, 15, 20 minutes, a couple times a week. Like that's all you need to do. Or you could do what I do, and I have, again, a big fan of sauna. So my sauna has the light panels above, and it just rotates through all the different frequencies, light frequencies, as well as getting infrared. And that's for that's not only just for sleep and light exposure, what we're talking about now. It's for other health benefits and detoxing, etc. But I'm getting that. Or the super, super poor man's cost you nothing version. Get outside in the sunshine. Just get out in the sunshine. It doesn't cost you anything. Now I know we all have different things going on in different climates and everything, but just get outside in the sunshine. So that's super, and yeah, maybe we'll circle back with the weight loss thing, but there's been some studies with light exposure and cancer and that sort of thing. Some very good research that
Wow.
yeah, I pretty much believe in. Again, that's another
Yep.
thing. So okay, so that's some of the benefits of reducing blue light. Some of the risks, we've already talked about some of these. Negative affect your endocrine system, or cellular function. Cataracts, potentially blindness. Macular degeneration, we already talked about. Mitochondrial dysfunction, disrupted sleep. Let's go back to mitochondrial dysfunction for a second. So some people might not be aware of what mitochondria is. So in all our cells, there are these little essentially they're classified as bacteria that are inside our cells. We need them it's basically energy production. Really, somebody's watching this who's a scientist and be like, you totally butchered that. That's high level here. High level here.
That's right.
Energy production. You want healthy mitochondria. The more mitochondria you have, the healthier you are. Naturally starts to decline as we age. That's why we have age-related sicknesses. So we want to do things to boost your mitochondria. So if getting rid of the bad light and getting good light, i.e. sunshine, or ways to hack it unnaturally, but to get those same type of spectrums, is good for your everything. Good for your everything. All your cells, right? It's good for so let's go back. Yeah, I already mentioned cancer there, heart disease. LEDs cause severe retinal damage to the photoreceptors in your eyes. I think we've already touched on that. The other big thing, especially with devices, not so much. It could be with your like overhead lights in your kitchen or whatever, but with devices and even your TV is flicker, the flicker rate. The really old TVs. Maybe dating myself here. If you grew up in like the 70s and 80s and the old, sometimes you kind of see that little flicker, right? So it's much improved from that. But actually, even now you don't see it visually. Every screen, because we're kind of AC, or that alternating current is how all our houses in North America are sort of plugged in, right? So alternating current. So it means it switches back and forth. That's what the alternating part means. And so it's anywhere from 50 to 60 switches per second. So on off, so that double that. So that's 100 to 120 flips per second, not per minute, per second. So even though you can't visually see that on your screen's not flickering, it actually is flickering. Your brain doesn't realize it, but your eye realizes. So it's very taxing on your eye, and focus, and you have brain fog. And I think when you watch TV or in front of your screen too long, it's the eye strain. It's not because your eyes are open and you're like, I'm doing my spreadsheet or whatever your job might be in front of a computer. It's like, it's that flicker. You're actually exhausting. It's very exhausting to your brain and your eyes. Your brain's sending the signal to your eyes like, this is too much, right? That's why you need to take a break, right? That's why they say take a break every 20 minutes. Gaze out, away from your screen, because you need that break to reduce the flicker. Okay, I already explained that. One thing that was kind of interesting, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but as I was sort of
Great.
doing a couple notes to prepare for this, yesterday dropping my kids off at the daycare, and one of my younger daughter, one of her little friends came up and like, hi, how's it going? I was like, oh, hi. And then I won't say I won't say her name, but I was like, do you have glasses now? Like sometimes kids, they're dressed up. I'm like, do you have glasses now? And maybe been a couple weeks since I've seen her, and she's like, yeah, I have glasses now. Like, all proud and they're cool and everything. So yeah, okay, awesome. But I'm like, she's 4.5. And no, don't get me wrong. There's people or kids, even when I was, as long as I can remember, there was always, one or two kids that had glasses for whatever reason. But it got me thinking. I was like, there's actually a lot of kids. I mean, we have young kids, so we obviously know a lot of families and go to school and daycare and all these types of things. There's a lot of kids. I have no scientific. It's just totally anecdotal. But it seems like now we have a lot more kids younger wearing glasses than when I was a kid. Like, I didn't get glasses until junior high, and who knows what those reasons be. I have suspect watching TV in the dark and trying to, like, who knows what it could be. But I think kids are getting, this is my own personal opinion, I haven't seen any data per se yet. I'm sure it's there, actually, I just don't know myself. With the exposure, we got kids playing on devices, iPads, video games, etc. Like, I didn't play a video game till I'm again dating myself here, till I was probably 12, 13 years old, right? Now, like, we try and limit it, but my kids are on devices, and I said they have the blue light blocking glasses when they're at home. But I think it's just, and the artificial light and the LEDs have, only come in the last, I don't know, in mass quantity, maybe the last 10, 15 years. So it's totally different generational, right? So I just think, like, where are we headed? It goes back to, again, not saying this little girl or any of the little kids that are in glasses are on the path to macular degeneration, but it kind of ties back to that initial study that got this whole thing started for me. It's like, the study they're showing they're forecasting out 40 years, and they're just seeing that the number of cases are just going to go up. So, just kind of food for thought, something to think about, right? And something I alluded to earlier, again, kind of get off to a new topic here. A lot of people, even when you're sleeping, you're exposed to light that's disrupting your sleep. And now, it might not necessarily be blue light, but it probably is. So, you could have, depending where you live, you could have street lamps. They're all becoming LED now because they're more energy efficient or last longer or whatever they want to believe or tell you. Which I'm not saying that's not true, but they're definitely, and they're brighter. So if you live in an urban setting, in a condo downtown somewhere or high density, you might have street light coming through your windows. You might have your phone, beside you. You might have the TV or whatever you have in there that has, even though it's off, you got that little standby light that's red or green
Yeah.
or whatever, and that's one of my things especially when I travel. And that's a whole other rabbit hole of, like, kind of how to hack sleep when you're traveling. But you got to, man, those things all affect you, right? Even though you're
Right.
sleeping and you actually are sleeping, it affects your quality of sleep. Affects your hormones, your metabolism. You're going to shift towards. Here's another technical, scientific word: shift towards mTOR. So you probably know what mTOR is, but for people who don't know, little m, capital T, big, capital O, capital R stands for the mammalian target of rapamycin. Okay, what the hell does that mean? Basically, it leads to growth and anabolism, which means, we want mTOR. When we exercise, we want to grow, we want to eat our food, we want mTOR, right? It helps us grow and maintain muscle mass, amongst many other things. But you can't have too much of that, because if you have too much mTOR, you need the opposite, which what I said earlier was AMPK. So when you're sleeping, you want AMPK. When you're awake, you want mTOR. You need that good balance, right? If you're always in mTOR phase, growth phase, whether it's through overeating, excessive stimulations, which light is one. You're always going to your body's always going to be, like, in growth mode. So if everything's in growth mode and you don't have that time to have that cellular cleaning when you're that you never have time to clean out because they're always growing. Well, what do you think happens? Sounds a lot like growth of cells, tumors, maybe it's a bit of a. Am I stretching there? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So you need that balance, right? So again, there's many factors that affect mTOR, but light stimulation is one of those. So you want to rest when you're really resting and have AMPK. So again, so it can lead to excessive issues like cancer, reduced lifespan, a whole host of other diseases. And blue light just goes without saying, I guess, from what I just said, leads to, chronic stress in our bodies, right? Light is a stressor, and, mitochondria, what I talked about earlier, dysfunction and diseases, eventually leads to diseases. So very simple things, that you can do, like just to finish up what I was talking about in the bedroom, you probably shouldn't have a TV there or anything that's number one, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. But at the very least, cover up those little tabs, and that's certainly one of the tips. If you're traveling or in a hotel, you can get little strips. They actually sell little things that are just for that. But I mean,
Really? I
just
didn't
get
know that.
just get a roll of black tape. It's way
Yeah,
cheaper.
just get a roll.
And,
That's a
and
smart idea.
just
Yeah.
rip it up and cover all those things up. Hotel. I'm going on a tangent here, but hotels are notoriously terrible for having terrible curtains, right?
Yeah.
So, right. So easy hack is most hotels also have those hangers where you can clip your pants to, right? They got the
Yeah.
little alligator clips. So
Yeah.
take that, put it, and clip the curtains closed together. Two of them. A lot of people I know, I don't do this. I just rely on those. But a lot of people actually carry like clothespins. A couple of those, and you keep the curtains closed because they never really line up quite right,
Yeah.
and you always get that little bit of
That's
light
right.
through, right? And if
Yeah.
you're, I don't know, some like downtown New York, forget about noise and all that other stuff. You're just gonna get a ton of light, right? So that's one thing. So tips, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, try and rise and sleep with the sun. I know we're in modern times. It's very hard. It's not going to happen. Get out early. What I also mentioned earlier, get out early in the sunshine. Get outdoors. Get sun on your skin, which kind of that's a little bit of another rabbit hole. But just get some exposure. Get some natural sunlight exposure to your eyes early in the day. You definitely need blue light blocking glasses after sunset, preferably the red or yellows wrap around, which I mentioned, which I'm waiting to get, which I don't have them on right now. If you can, if your spouse is all on board with it, in certain rooms, I mean, theoretically, you could put your whole house could be on red lights or whatever all the time. But if and red light bulbs and low blue light bulbs, etc., they cost more. They do, right? It's a bit of a luxury. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I know 2 to 4 times as much as a regular light bulb. So where are you going to spend your money, right?
Right.
It's an individual decision. But if you're going to have to say, okay, I'm going to get some, but where's my best bang for my buck? Your bedroom, I would say, right? Depending again when you get up. If you get up in the morning, you kind of want the blue light, the natural. But if it's red, it's not that bad. But definitely when you go to sleep, last thing you want to be is, all the TV's off. An hour before bed, I'm just reading by candlelight. I'm not on my screen, all that. Like you're doing everything perfect, and then you go in your room right before bed to put on your pajamas or brush your teeth in the bathroom or whatever, and like turn on the lights. You just nullified everything you were doing for the last hour. So if there's
Right.
if there's one place, if you're gonna take the time or the expense to get like actual install red or yellow bulbs or whatever in your house, your bathroom, your main bathroom that you brush your teeth, go to the bathroom before you go to bed, and your bedroom would be the two. Obviously, avoid screens before bed at least by an hour. Hey, I know it's a modern world. We don't always do that. Myself included. I'm not even following the last 3 days. I've even followed my own advice here because I've been busy working on a couple projects. So I've been kind of staying up late trying to get stuff in front of the computer. I have my blue light blocking glasses on. Yes, it's helpful. But ideally, I should be going to bed early and not in front of screens. But if you are going to use screens, use your night mode. So on your apps you can do that. My Twitter, as an example, is always on night mode. Facebook, I try and flip back and forth. It's kind of preference. Sometimes it takes some getting used to. Like, whoa, that's really dark. Even just depends on the app, right? So I think on Twitter it just makes the background sort of white, black, and then your text is white, and that. So it depends what your apps are. But so one, just look at the apps and using the night mode. But then also on your and it's easy to Google, right? You Google your certain TV and night mode, or bringing down the color temperature, the Kelvin that we talked about. You can do all these things to a degree. If you really want to hack it, there's like devices, but again, get a little bit pricey, so it's not even something I incorporate myself. Just monitor those things. You get special computer monitors that are just built that way, that have or are at least easily adjustable, very simple to adjust. Every monitor can be adjusted, just might how much effort does it take, but you can Google all those things. So do those things. There's a piece of software. It's called Iris Tech, IRIS Iris Tech. So it's a software you install on your computer, and you can reduce the flicker rate. It's anti-glare. They change the Kelvin and everything. It's really fantastic. And then yeah, I already mentioned this sort of low flicker monitors. You can buy special monitors that are just low flicker. Don't wear blue light blocking glasses in the morning sun. Although sometimes it's like I said earlier, sometimes I just have my one pair. I can't flip to my other pair, so it is what it is. Another thing that some people don't think about, like I always found, I still do, even with blue light blocking glasses, I find driving at night very irritating. The headlights, the bright lights coming at you.
Yeah.
So nowadays, right, probably the last 10 or 15 years, but like definitely now, any car that's the last 5 years for sure. Super bright halogen headlights, right? It's just like it's
Yeah.
blinding. You're like, is that guy have his
Yes.
high beams on?
Yes.
No, those
Yes.
are the regular lights, Sometimes I've been guilty of this before, and I've kind of learned my lesson. I'll be like, what the hell? And I'll flip my high beams on. It's like, what are you doing, buddy? That signal, like, turn yours off. And then he'll flick his on. I'm like, oh, geez, he didn't have
Yeah.
his high beams on. Oh, I feel
Yeah.
like a dick now. Sorry. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry about
exactly.
that, that type of thing. But anyways, yeah, so like they're super bright. So, definitely wear blue light blocking glasses at night. And even some people say, again, you have to get used to it, and there's a safety issue, everything. But if you can't have blue light blocking glasses, if you're driving a lot at night, like it's some distance, on the highway, busy highway, and I'm gonna be on the road for an hour, I'm gonna have constant headlights, in my eyes, like wear sunglasses. At least wear sunglasses to cut that
Right.
glare down a bit. So, like the song goes, "Where I wear my sunglasses at night," right?
Sunglasses at night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, there you
exactly.
go. Yeah, that could be your next TikTok. So,
That's
right.
right.
So,
That's awesome.
anyway, a couple of things to wrap up, and then if there's any questions or follow up, I guess. But when you're looking for blue light blocking glasses, I bought mine through the eye doctor. Once she demonstrated, as I described earlier, when they came in from the manufacturer, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I want to make sure they work. Demonstrate, dark room, everything. There's a lot of cheap, like anything, right? There's a lot of cheap knockoffs, people trying to make a buck,
Right.
stuff from China, overseas, whatever. So
Right.
if you can, try and test. But if you're going to order off Amazon, at the very least, you want to block. So light is measured in wavelengths, right? Nanometers. So the 400 to 485 nanometer wavelength is what you want to make sure that those glasses block. That's specifically the really concentrated, the main part of the blue light spectrum. So you want to make sure you get that, and then. Yeah, so I guess we wanted to come back on that's kind of the sort of the high level notes that I prepared to talk about. Certainly can follow back. I know you did want to mention about weight loss and that sort of thing. So kind of what I've already alluded to some degree. Regulates natural light. So artificial light disrupts basically does the opposite of natural light. Let's just put it that way, right? So if natural sunlight is good for your hormone regulation, artificial light is bad for your hormone regulation. So it's pretty much the opposite. So hormone regulation, blood sugar control. There's a study where they had mice or rats or what have you fed them the exact same food, and mind you, it's not like these mice. Usually in these studies, they're not like on a ketogenic diet or whatever. They're just having like just garbage, whatever kind of chow, right? They just call it chow,
Right.
vegetable oils and whatever. But anyway, at least that's constant. That's the constant in this study, and it was just like a natural sort of rotation of natural light and then darkness, and the other group that just kept in the dark. So same amount of food that these mice are getting. I forget. I have a study here somewhere, but I forget the time frame. But basically, the mice that were always in the dark just got fat. So
Wow.
does that translate to humans? Maybe not. People are going to debate.
Right.
Mice, animal studies versus humans. But I think that's pretty telling.
Yeah.
And going back again, evolutionary. We were meant to when the sun got up, you got up and did your hunting and gathering, and then it got dark. Before we invented fire, we just went to sleep, and then once we had fire, we could tell stories and stay up a little bit later. Also, just by the way, people probably know this, but moonlight, candlelight, fire. Those are not going to disrupt your sleep. So if you had that on after the sun goes down, it's not going to mess up at least from a sleep perspective, because
Okay.
there's no blue light in those. It's again that natural, almost mimicking the sun setting kind of frequencies. So yeah,
I did not know that. That's cool. That's a cool piece of info.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I mean, if you stay up in front of the fire, drinking up till 4 in the morning, well, you're still gonna have
Right. Yeah,
you're still gonna have a
that's right.
terrible sleep. But you can't blame the
It's
lights,
not the
right?
fire's fault.
It's
Yeah.
not the firelight, right? So, yeah. So that's it's kind of at a high level. Through a lot of things out there, maybe a bit scattered back and forth. And again, like sleep, light, so many of these topics, disease prevention, et cetera, they're all very interrelated, um, again, when I work with my clients, we look at many things, nutrition, physical exercise, mental and motivation, that sort of thing. But sleep and water and light, and that's all comes in. It's all part of it. It's all related, right? If you have,
Right.
you could be on the best diet for you, for that individual, based on epigenetics and lifestyle and et cetera, because there's no one size fits all for everyone.
Mhm.
You can be on the best diet, but if you have high stress or drinking bad water, have breathing bad air and under artificial light all the time, it doesn't really, yeah, you'll make
Right.
progress, because I think
Right.
nutrition is a big piece, but you'll make progress, but not as good as you could do if you had all the other pieces. So it's all related. So
Right.
yeah, so that's kind of, again, in a nutshell. I don't know if any questions came in over the time. I can see, we've had people come and go, come and go. So I don't
Yeah.
know if any questions came
Yeah.
in, but if not, then do you have any other questions for me? And
See, yeah, okay. So thank you. So I wanted to say, so Matthew Gento Masso, he said hi to you. I wanted to say,
okay,
just
yeah,
give a shout out. Give a shout out. And does anybody, if somebody's watching right now, if you're watching right now and you do have a question, you can type it in. I'm just going to, I would like just to, if somebody does have a question, I'll just like chat with you just a little bit longer about,
sure.
so somebody that, is saying like, okay, this is great. So I am like, this is something I can do. I would like to try to eliminate, how much light I'm exposed at. What are some things, like what could somebody
Oh,
do tonight
sorry,
to help
you
them,
froze there for a second. Julie, you froze there. I didn't
okay,
get any of it.
okay, no problem. Yeah. Oh, oh, I think it's just sort of stalling. It's like the internet is just being exploded with awesomeness. I'll just wait till it goes on. This sometimes happens. Woo! Are we back yet? Oh, no, we're not back yet. Let's see. I'm just waiting. It's going to come.
No,
I know it always does. It's just, okay,
we're good.
good.
I
Are you
think we're
good?
good. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. I don't know what happened there. Like we went through the porthole. I don't know. Like we're in another dimension now. Okay, so if somebody wanted to take action tonight, what are some tips they could do tonight to help them, reduce the amount of light, they're like blue light they're getting exposed to, and maybe have like a better sleep and to help them, just be healthier.
Yeah, so I think get natural light, number one, in the morning, and if that doesn't work, like I know, I've been an office worker in a northern climate in the wintertime. You go to work in the dark, you come home in the dark, and you're inside all day. So I know it can be cold, especially where I live sometimes, you can get really, really cold, but just try and get out, you're all bundled up and everything, and it's great to get light exposure in your skin. That's a whole nother topic, really. But if you just get out with your parka and your scarf and all everything, get some natural light at least at lunchtime in your eyes. Number one, it'll help you. Two, I really think even if you're pretty much everyone, anyone who's watching this right now is on a device, right? Otherwise,
Mhm.
you don't even know we exist if you're not on a device. So
Mhm.
if you have prescription, they're not actually for whatever type of lens and frames, and some people spend more or less, and this brand and that brand, it only costs about $50 or $60 extra to get blue light blocking integrated into your lens. So you
Oh,
know,
wow.
some people, whatever people can afford is whatever people can afford. But
Yeah.
some it's not unreasonable for a decent pair. And again, it depends what your prescription is too, right? That alone sometimes jacks up the price if you have a really strong prescription. But it's not out of the realm for $400, $500 for a pair of glasses. So to add just 10% more to like protect your eyes from all these things. So I think blue light blocking glasses it's almost become, it's sad, but it's almost becoming a must because everywhere else in your world you have all this artificial light. They're just making it brighter and this, that, and the other thing. Even if you haven't, and I don't know where everyone lives, obviously, but like, when I see clients now, and when I worked in, sort of corporate in an office tower, and even now when I see clients in their offices, even if you have a window office and it's your, you know, sunshine, on the sunny side of the building, the sun's coming in, you still can't turn off the damn lights, that the main
Yeah.
building is controlling, right? Maybe some you can dim or something. It's very rare. They're always on, and
Hmm.
sometimes they have the motion sensor one, so if you don't move for like 15 minutes, they shut off, and then as soon as you try and grab your water, oh, they came back on. So point. I'm being exaggerating here a little bit. It's hard. You can't get it. You go to Costco, you go to the grocery store. There's so many lights. Um, Actually, this is kind of funny. Just popped in. I was mentioning my kids earlier. So I was talking to the principal of their school, and they have these little challenges things, and like just to keep the kids engaged. And so he was at Costco, and like all the rows of lights, right? He's like, I wonder how many there are. So he took a picture and blew it up, and then it was like in the hallway, the front entrance of the school. The kids could write a guess and put it in, and they were going to win a prize or something, whoever was closest. But then you have to go find someone at Costco, like, how many rows of lights are there actually here, right? And I saw the pictures. So just think about it. I didn't know the answer because the contest was still going on, so he wouldn't tell me, so I couldn't tell my daughter. But just from that picture alone, you're like, okay, there's at least 50 in this row. There's at least 20 rows across that I can see in this picture he's
Wow.
taking. And they're just like mass, like just think of those stores, these warehouse type of places that we are shopping now,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't even like
Yeah.
anywhere, right? Even if you go to like
Yeah.
the Gap or whatever clothing store, super
Yeah.
bright lights, right? So you can't escape it. So you almost need to have blue light blocking glasses now. If you're concerned about like looking dorky or whatever, like just get like what I have.
Yeah.
Just simple, clear. No one's the wiser
Yeah.
that they're blue light blocking if I don't tell them, right? You don't have to go the
Yeah.
red wraparound. So very simple things. Get some sunshine early in the day, as early as possible. Preferably sunrise, but I know that doesn't always work out for people's lives.
Hmm.
Blue light blocking glasses are almost becoming a must. And then
Hmm.
dim your devices, night mode. I mean, I know people that use night mode like all the time,
Hmm.
all day long. They don't switch it at oh, the sun's going down 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever, and then switch to night mode. They just have night mode all the time. And you just get used to it, right?
Hmm.
So you night mode your devices, and then if you can, I know we're all busy. We're trying to do stuff. Maybe the only time you have to text with your mom or see what your sibling across the world is doing is at night when you kind of decompress from your day. So, but if I get it. But if you can, just get off your devices and just read a book, or better yet, just go to sleep. So many things will
Right.
just be better if you just go to sleep and get more sleep,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Right.
and quality of sleep is another topic altogether, right? That's another
Right.
topic for another time. How to hack sleep quality. And that's something I'm super interested in, and I have some new gadgets. If people check out my and I post it always on my YouTube channel when I get new gadgets. And then I'm a bit of a biohacker, a bit of a self quantifier, so. I track these things and sort of see what works for sleep or not. And actually, again, I talk a lot with my hands. So people might have seen this ring, the Aura ring quantifies. I use it for my sleep tracking. Super accurate, probably the most accurate device that there is right now. More accurate than my Garmin for sure. But I've done a whole post on my website on that, so I'm not trying to plug that or anything. But if you want to know some factors that, at least for me, and again, everyone's different, that I found that helps my sleep or hinders my sleep. Light is obviously one of those things, but I tracked a bunch of other factors too at that time. So I think those are really three, four, whatever I said. They're really simple, easy, low-hanging fruit. Now, does it take some commitment and some lifestyle changes? Yes, but you don't have to spend a lot of money or any money, and just very simple things to for your long-term health, right? And I'm all about longevity, right? So
Awesome.
Deepak, this is awesome. I want you to plug brainmechanics.org. I want to say I'm going to be actually going back up in the title, and I'm going to be putting in your website and your Twitter handle and your Facebook handle as well, just for people. But can you the platform is yours right now. Like, what would you
Sure,
like to share
sure.
about
Yeah.
brain
So
mechanics?
maybe I appreciate you putting that in the title. Maybe I'll just quickly plug those, and then I'll talk about brain mechanics.
Sure. Yeah.
deepaksanihealth.com. So my name and health.com. Brand new website, just launched this week. All my content from my old website, I did a bit of a rebranding. It's all over there, and I've been kind of holding off. So I have some bunch of new content that I've been holding back. There'll be a lot of stuff coming out. In rapid succession here over the next couple weeks. Twitter at @dsanyhealth, Facebook at @deepaksanyhealth, and YouTube Deepak Sani Health. So trying
We
to
have a
get
question.
a
We have a
oh
question.
awesome question. Yes.
Yeah, question from Matthew. And I'm sorry, Matthew, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Matthew Jantomasso. I wonder if the same is for sunset. How relaxed we feel on sunset. Maybe it preps us for evening sleep.
So Matthew, and I know Matthew, he'll appreciate the plug I'm going to give for brain mechanics later. I did answer this question, Matt. But yes, it helps. That the red tones, the yellow, the oranges from the sunset, helps our body prepare for sleep, gets us our mind, our physiology ready for sleep, produces melatonin, which we need for sleep. It just gets our body prepared. So it's really good to actually view that sunset as well. I think that's why people just love the sunset. They're relaxed, and you think, oh, it's so beautiful. Yes, it is very beautiful, especially if you're on a beach somewhere and it's going down over the ocean, over the horizon. It's so beautiful, right? I love that. But it's, I think, also a primal urge that we need. That it's a signal to our brain that it's time to get ready for sleep. So Matthew, appreciate the question, and Matthew actually is also involved with brain mechanics as well. So a quick little plug on that. So there's a few of us that are involved. I've talked about it before, but basically a friend of both Matthew and I unfortunately lost his father to Alzheimer's about 6 years ago. Made his personal mission to eradicate the disease. Current treatment is a Band-Aid at best. There's some doctors led by Dr. Dale Bredesen who've come up with a protocol, sort of a multimodal protocol that's showing some really good promise, which is awesome. But there's like 1,100 doctors in North America, possibly the world, that are doing this. So that's not enough. Think about all the doctors who even know about this. That's not enough. But what brain mechanics has come up with is even a greater protocol that takes even more steps, like an 8-step approach, way more in depth. Kind of to my comments earlier, our health is not just nutrition, it's not just sleep, it's not just movement, it's air quality, all those things. It's all related. So you can't treat a condition like Alzheimer's just with one modality or two or three. It takes a bunch. All these components are in themselves are silos, and they're scientifically proven to work for X. Brain mechanics believes, let's break the silos down, bring them all together. They work for this, they work for this. We think, I'm a part of the group as well, that working all together, all these individual silos, bringing it all together in one protocol will greatly help, and actually not just stave off, but actually cure and reverse Alzheimer's. So that being said, we have to prove it out with a clinical trial. So brainmechanics.org, you can donate to the clinical trial. One last thing with using nowadays crowdsourcing, machine learning, AI. We feel that we can get the cost of doing a clinical trial way down. So a small clinical trial costs millions, tens of millions of dollars to do, a very small one. We believe we can do it for less than $1 million. Now, that's not a small chunk of change by any means, but every bit helps. $10 donation here, $20 donation there. So if anyone's even concerned with Alzheimer's, you have it in your family, or worried about a family member or something, check it out. Please donate. We'd be happy. At the very least, check out the site, brainmechanics.org. Learn more about us, what we're trying to do. And yeah, that's my plug for them. And yeah, Matt, I appreciate the question earlier. And and Julie, if you have any other questions, I got a couple more minutes. I can hang on to answer any other questions or what have you. So
I'll put that brainmechanics.org also, that link, in the title. And Matthew says, thanks, Deepak. Agreed. So that's good
awesome,
that you
buddy.
answered his question. Yeah, and I just think, you know what? If you have a couple minutes, can you talk a little bit about vitamin D? So especially because I know, like, I've heard that a lot of like you need vitamin D, and we live in a where it's winter time and we have less exposure to the sun. So what could we do to help like
Sure,
get more vitamin
sure.
D?
Yeah, so number one, vitamin D is vital for, it always changes. It's either 500 or 700 processes that your body goes through. So vitamin D is essential for many processes. And if, of course, if you don't have adequate vitamin D, you can't do those processes. Our bodies are amazing; they'll figure out a way. But let's help it along. Let's let it do its thing naturally. So I think most people, especially if you live in a northern climate, if you're near the equator, plus or minus, you're you're okay for the most part. But once you get a little bit more, I live up in Canada. We don't, even in the summertime, we don't get enough vitamin D. So I think nearly everyone on this planet needs to have um, needs to get vitamin D. Best source is the sun, but people can supplement as well. I supplement. Again, I live in a northern climate. It's winter more than half the year here. The sun time is short. I try and get out as much as I can, especially in the summertime. The winter I try and go on vacations and get a lot. But I supplement. So even in the summer, I'll still take 2,000 IU minimum. Actually, more than that, because I also take an omega-3 fish oil supplement, which
Mm-hmm.
is another, I think, very essential vitamin. And we can do a whole other topic on supplements and vitamins another time, maybe next time.
Yeah.
That also has added vitamin D. So I'm getting 3250 IU even in the summer. Now in the winter, I jump that up to nearly 5,000
Okay.
IU. So depending on your doctor, when they went to medical school, how researched they are, they're going to say either that's right spot on from an external supplementation, or whoa, that's way too high, or you're going to get vitamin D poisoning or something like that.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
If you go outside in the sunshine and have your body exposed, and really the best absorption is through your torso,
Yeah.
and your legs. So if you go out with like how I'm dressed right now, you get virtually no vitamin D or vitamin D production through sun absorption through your face or your neck or your hands or your arms. Like you're like, oh, I'm getting vitamin D. No, you're not. You need to have your
Right.
torso. You need to have your torso, your chest, your back. You know, some places, or your backyard, your butt, your glutes, your hamstrings. Like your kind of your core needs to be
Yeah.
exposed in like 20 minutes of prime sunshine. So I was saying take in the winter I take 5,000
Yeah.
IU in about 20 minutes, and some people have different views of what the amount is, but it's generally in this ballpark. 20 minutes of prime sunshine, you're getting 40,000
No.
IU's equivalent. So
Right.
why do we feel so good in the the sun, it's warm, and
Yeah.
if I feel happier, yeah, you're getting all that vitamin D, it's all producing, it's
Yeah.
for all these processes you need, right? It's super super important. Again, I'm not quite at the point yet. I live in again, like I said, northern climate. It does get really sunny here actually in the wintertime. It could be like, this is Celsius for our American friends here. We could be like minus 40 Celsius, right? But be really sunny out. It's damn
Mm-hmm.
cold. I'm not quite at the
Mm-hmm.
point. I'm working on it. I'm building towards it where I could actually go to my sauna and then run out shirtless, get some sun exposure, and then run back in the sauna. So I'm working on that. I'm not quite there yet, but I've been slowly for the last couple of years trying to build my cold tolerance up, which has its own benefits, and that's another story for another time. But vitamin D is super, super important. Um, Again, kind of in line, again, another rabbit hole, and I don't want to keep you too long, Julie, but in line with that natural sunlight as well, right? Some people are like, oh, skin cancer and this, that, and the other thing. Uh, you know, I've read some studies lately that, again, early morning sun. So depending where you live, again, peak time is going to be a little bit different. I'm a bit northern climate, so our peak sun is actually 2 o'clock, not noon or thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
2 to 4, we have like 2 hours of peak sun time. But early morning sun, right when the sun rises till, even if you're at the equator or plus or minus till
Mm-hmm.
10, 10:30, maybe 11 as you go a little bit higher,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about sunburn or there's a few exceptions. I'll get to those in a second.
Mhm.
But you don't really have to worry about sunburn or skin cancer or anything like that. It's only extreme exposure, and when like an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, sitting out there baking in the peak sun times that anyone even has to worry about that. And genetics can play a role for that as well. I'm I guess there's pros and cons to both, but I have East Indian heritage on my father's side, so I do have some darker pigmentation. So what does that actually mean? So people that are lighter skin actually absorb vitamin D better. People who are darker don't. So I'm some shade in between. But that if you're darker, if you're African heritage, very dark skinned, you actually need to be out there more to get the same level of vitamin D absorption.
Oh,
So
wow.
key point is, as long as you're not stupid about it and spending hours and
Right.
hours in the peak prime time,
Mhm.
you don't need to blather up with lotions and all this stuff. Don't even get me started on the chemicals that are in those lotions. That's a whole other topic altogether. You're not going to get skin cancer from spending from 8 in the morning till 10:30 in the morning, with your shirt off out in the sunshine, even when you're at the beach. In the
Right.
middle of summer or in Hawaii or the Caribbean or Mexico or a lot of places where people go. You're not going to get skin cancer from that. It's only when you're really, really prolonged and in that peak time, that's when you gotta like worry about it. And I even then I would be like, go inside. Take your afternoon. Why do a lot of Latin and places that are warm have these afternoon siestas? This is so they can get out of the sun.
Right.
They know it's not good, right?
Right.
We're gonna relax, have a nap, maybe recharge. It's a bit of a cultural thing as well, right? But you don't have to worry about it. So unless and sometimes you're on vacation, you're out, and you're just out and about, and you're gonna be out at the beach for the peak sun time. Okay, take precautions. But and I'm not telling anyone what to do with their kids, but our kids, and again, they have that little bit of darker pigmentation from ethnically from my dad's side of the family. But we don't put sunscreen on our kids in the morning or late in in the evening, or I see people slathering up and all this stuff. I'm like, you're causing more harm with all that chemical sunscreen. And there's there's ones that you can get are more natural and that sort of thing. Sorry, it's jumped around a bit here, the camera. But you don't need to. I guess the one caveat I'd be is if the people that are if you're someone who's a redhead, freckles, that's the part of the population that really actually needs to worry about it. Even at those times that I said it's probably okay for most people, that'd be the one population, at least the studies have shown, that need to be careful about that, redheads or people with freckles and that sort of thing. But that being said, those people use a good sunscreen, not the dollar from Costco for 2 liters of sunscreen stuff. Like that stuff will cause you, in my opinion, many people's opinion, definitely my opinion, that stuff will cause you cancer. Not the sun, not the sun exposure. So I kind of went off on a rabbit hole there, as I
That's
tend to
awesome.
do. So, but so vitamin D is critical, and the best source is the sun naturally. And if you have to, you need to supplement. You should supplement. It's one of my recommendations with people. Is one of the few supplements I think everyone should take some vitamin D.
That's
So I hope that
awesome.
answered your question.
Yes, it did. Deepak, you're awesome. I want to thank you so much, and I want to do our little thing
Yeah,
to
ready?
end off. Yeah.
Boo. La, 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 la.
It's so awesome. This was so amazing. Thank you so much.
That's from Big Hero 6 if people don't know. That's from Big Hero 6. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So yeah, we have to do this again if you're open to it.
For sure,
because you
I would
have
love
so
to
much
do it. I would love to
information.
do it again, and maybe next time we get some pre-questions and whatever the topic would be. I've
Yeah.
suggested people who've seen this live or going to come to it after on the replay. If something that we talked about, I know we kind of went some rabbit holes or anything else that's sort of health related, I guess. Put it in the comments, and maybe that'll be a topic for next time. I just throw that out there to people. So, encourage you. I enjoyed this. Thank you again, Julie. And yeah, I listed a few things, and Julie will put in the title. Check me out, and then we'll see. And a lot more new content coming out now that my new website is up and running. So.
Awesome. Deepak,
Awesome.
thank you. You're amazing.
Gratitude for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Gratitude. Yeah, gratitude for you, my friend. All right, until next time. Bye.
All right, next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.